let's talk reading. It's not just for the big kids anymore. We know that from the youngest age, kids are already starting to soak in that attitude and just those beliefs that families have about literacy and about reading and how important it is in their family's culture. And so from the very youngest kids, it's so important to have them on our laps, have them snuggled up next to us on the couch, just loving to read, to be read to, even before they have those literacy skills. They're starting to develop pre-literacy skills with learning to track left to right if we're running our fingers along the page, and to focus on the words, that the word is what tells us what to say. The way the letters are put together makes words. So one series that I love for starting with our littlest kids is these That's Not My books. There's a whole set of them That's Not My Fox, and That's Not My Hamster, and Tractor, and Truck, and all different subjects. And each one will say, that's not my, this one happens to be a baby, and it actually happens to be in Spanish, but it's the only one we have left at my house because I don't have little ones anymore. Not that little anyway. So that's not my baby, and it tells us on this page because her hat is too fuzzy. And then this one is not my baby because her teddy bear is too furry. And this isn't my baby. Her blanket is too smooth or silky. And it goes through and then it ends with, most of them say, that's my baby, or that's my fox. His tail is so fluffy, or that's my tractor. Its horn is so shiny, or I don't know. So anyway, those are great, and so they're so fun with the different textures on each page. And then as somebody gets a little older, 3 or 4, the text is so predictable because every page says, that's not my, whatever the subject of the book is, it's whatever is to whatever. And those are the only words they have to figure out on the page, and they can figure it out by looking at the picture, which is a really important skill as kids are learning to read, to use all of the clues on the page to start to try to figure out what the word is. So those are great for building vocabulary and just for their interest with those textures. I love That's Not My. And then as our kids are getting a little older and are actually really getting into some phonics skills and some pre-reading, we have these awesome phonics readers. This one is called Kangaroo at the Zoo. There's Ted in a Red Bed. There's Shark in the Park, a whole series of them, and each one will focus on different certain phonics sound chunks and sounds in the words, and they just tell silly stories. There's Llamas in Pajamas, and there are a couple of sets where you can buy these. They're either $6.99 a piece for the individual paperbacks, and you can buy them as a set, or there is a book also called there's Ted and Friends, or there's one called Cow Takes a Bow, and they are bound in a single hardcover book where there are several of the stories bound into one book for $19.99, and it comes with a CD that will read the stories also. So you can have them in the car and people can be following along while the CD reads it on the radio, or set somebody down at the table to read those books while you cook supper. These are a really great set. And then when they even begin to have a few more reading skills and they're really ready to start reading on their own, we have this very first reading set, and it comes with 15 little hardcover books in there and a parent guide that will give you just information about each book and what the pattern, what phonics skill they're supposed to be learning from that one, and then some questions and activities that you can read with them as you go through the book. You read one side in the very first one, the first few. You read one side of the page and they read the other side of the page where the text is more predictable. And then you build up by book 15 where it's level 4 and they're doing most of it on their own, and they have certain skills and chunks of the words that they've learned to build on that. And then another set that we have is this Usborne book box. Has a similar format to it, but the books are just a little more challenging. The first reading books, there's just not a lot of text on the pages. There are pictures to go with it. And then by the time you get to the end of the series, there's a lot more text on the page, and there are still pictures, but there's just a lot more text on the pages. And we have a set of beginner readers that I thought I grabbed, but I didn't, that has all different science and social studies type topics that are a similar format to that, where they don't have a lot of text on the page, but they offer true interesting facts about castles, pigs, wolves, all different topics that kids might be interested in. Dinosaurs, there's one. So those are great. Those are the ones for a lot of like the building the skills and giving them that confidence to really read on their own. And one of my favorite series then, right after that, when they're ready for some chapter books, are Billy B. Brown and Hey Jack. They're two characters that they actually go into each other's stories too, but of course girls love to read books with girls in them, and boys love to read books with boys in them. And there's not a lot of text on each page, but it feels like they're reading a chapter book. This is a whole set of them packaged together that I don't want to take out. They're thin, but they still feel like we're reading chapter books. And from there, we have a few other series choices to step up to. There's Anna Hibiscus. She's a super fun girl, adventurous. It's set in South Africa. So she's a really fun, modern character in a place that kids don't often know a lot about. And we have then another series stepping up from these, probably more like second, third grade. Jack Russell, Dog Detective. This dog's out solving mysteries. This one happens to be called The Ham Heist. So silly, just a silly book, fun. Penny Dreadful is a little girl always getting into trouble. This one is called Penny Dreadful is a Complete Catastrophe. And so there are some pictures in these books, but they are not intended to be picture books necessarily. There will be pages that have very little for pictures, or even no pictures, and all text. But it's not super challenging reading yet. It's more of like a second, third grade level. And then it continues to build from there. Some of our fiction collections that we have available. This Mythical Ninth Division is kind of more of a graphic format. It's not a complete graphic novel, but there are certain elements of it that I would say this is more of a fourth or fifth grade. And there these, we've got the Alien Moon and Amazing Yeti Adventure, and the Magma Conspiracy, Armed, Dangerous, and Covered with Fur. Those are just kind of fun. We have a series called The Impossible Quest. I just read one of those last week, and it's got castles and dragons and unicorns, and these kids who are on a quest to find each of these 4 mythical beasts that will awaken these fighters to battle for their castle. We have some then even more for like teens and those I would say are more like 4th, 5th, even 6th grade. And then we have some that are more for mature readers that have more action in them, like the Phoenix Files and, oh goodness, of course, I can't think of any of them off the top of my head. I had it all memorized for you. But we have fiction for all different age ranges. So if you have any questions, I hope that you will ask me. This is only a sampling. There are even more if you go and you search on the website. Along the left side, there are, you can either sort by age category or type if you're looking for fiction or nonfiction. Just ask if you have any questions. I can't wait to help your reader find the right book.